Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Lies, shenanigans. Truth, 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 lies, shenanigans. It's the TLS show, coming to you live from the TLS show. It's the TLS show, coming to you live from the TLS show.
Hey, welcome to the Truth, Lies, Shenanigans podcast. Social commentary, hot topics, amazing guests with a ton of fun and shenanigans along the way. Today, we're talking about an indigenous community in Canada finally getting some tap water, Biden's student loan forgiveness plan, and a mother in revealing booty shorts walking her kid to class. All right, so we finally made it to our final show of season 3. An incredible season. We've had some deep topics and brought you some amazing guests. All right, let me quickly go down the list. We've had entertainers like singer Braden Henry, actors Javon Anderson, Shanice Lewis, Chris Morrissey, Jessica Lynn Verdi, Cher Cherie, and of course the mixed-ish and That's So Raven star mykal-michelle Harris. And we've had authors Tracy Mitchell, Erica Lewis, Niecy Jordan, B. Jeffrey Madoff, Chef Nick Williams, so many. And then we also brought you experts like Realtor Tasha Green Coleman, relationship therapist Sarah Simonson, immunologist Alain Simard, attorney Ethel Mitchell, Dr. Marjorie Simpson, and even the man who created the shoe that grows into a tree, Luke Huell. And our topics, we've covered abortion rights, mass shooting, pig hearts, Kanye versus Pete, Depp versus Heard, Trump raid, and of course that slap heard all around the world. So safe to say this has been our best season yet. We've also had some fantastic guest hosts helping us out this season, like Dr. J, Sarah Simonson, Micah from the Black on Black Cinema podcast, attorney Marcus Eason, the Brown Girl Interrupting, Maria Cosme, and of course, our newest TLS family member, Ellen Dole. But today, we've got the OGs for you. So let me take a minute to introduce the heart of the podcast and the faces behind the logo. And I'm going to have them share some of their favorite moments from this past season 3. First up, we had to make sure she was on our season finale. The professor, journalist, editor, streaming live from Washington, D.C., Miss Lizzie.
What's up, everyone? Happy Sunday, Fun Day. August is almost over. August every year, annually, is my worst month. I'm always in a funk. My bestie, on July 31st is always like, okay, are you ready? Are you ready? Can we get through August? I don't know if I got through it just yet. I'm still stressed. I'm still, trying to make some things happen, but I'm here. And you guys are here. So that means we all kind of sort of made it through, and that fall, autumn is around the corner.
Favorite moments from season 3?
Favorite moments from season 3. So I have 2, of course. I can never stick to the rules, so I have 2. Of course, the first one would be our Halloween episode. I loved it. I went as Miss Cruella DeVille from 101 Dalmatians. And, Halloween is always very special to me because it's my dad's birthday. And I did, pay homage to my dad for last year. So with my Halloween costume, because he would have been 101 years old last year. So that was a good episode for me. Even my wig kind of came off for my costume. So that was funny, but I saved it. But also, I think my other favorite episode would have been having mykal-michelle Harris on. Because I first met mykal-michelle. If you guys don't remember my story, I first met her when she had just turned 3 back in 2015,
Mhm.
before the glam, before she became this huge star. She was just this little itty bitty cute thing telling the world how she wanted to be like Serena Williams. And so it was great to see her in that episode, to catch up with her and see her maturation and growth. So I love that we were able to bring her to the people, have her talk to us,
Yeah,
and let us know what she's doing and what she's into.
Yeah,
So
those
yeah,
are
that
some
was a
pretty,
special moment for me.
yeah, that was
those are some pretty good moments. Some pretty good moments. All right.
absolutely.
Next up, our gamer rock star with the rock band Fallen Machine, coming to you from Sudbury, Ontario, Mr. Rob B. Rob. You're muted, Rob.
Oh, we can't hear you yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
you would
would be
think
the
it's a
final
season
show without
finale.
you
He'd
in this,
figure it
right?
out, right?
And I'm the tech, right? That's awesome. So, but it is another stellar Sunday, people, and I hope that everyone out there is keeping well. Season 3 highlights, just so many to choose from. And Neo, wonderful introduction. You trimmed down all of the names that I was going to mention. Awesome. But right. Um, we really enjoyed meeting Luc Hull, the inventor of Johnny Shoe, so much so that we ordered our shoes and we're waiting for them to come in. I know that they were shipping at the end of
Right.
August, so fingers crossed. But all time, my favorite moment had to be getting Braden Henry on the show, just because
That was a great show.
I've known this, yeah, like I've known him since he was a kid. So he's a young musician who's just working tirelessly and writing some really great material. And I'm truly excited for what his future holds.
Yeah, yeah, great.
Yes.
That was another great episode. All right. And our college student, actress, model, entrepreneur, streaming from Atlanta, Georgia, Gianni Storm.
Hey guys, I hope you're having a really great Sunday. And like Liz said, I'm so excited for the fall. I hope you're ready for this change of weather, change of scenery, all of it. My personal favorite was when Javon Anderson came on. I think because I'm into the acting scene in general, and it was just really refreshing to see that somebody could actually break through and actually make something of themselves. It was really like inspiring. So I loved when Javon came on, and
And
he was
Javon was
on No
from
Sudden.
No Sudden Move. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
The movie.
And also with Robbie took one of my favorites as well was I was gonna call him Johnny Appleseed.
Johnny. But no, that's how he came up with the name. Johnny
That's the name of the
Shoes.
shoe, the Johnny
Mhm.
shoe. Yeah.
Yes, that was my favorite because again, another inspiring person, but it's just so cool. Like who thinks of that? But throughout the whole season, this season was just like full of new people, interesting people. We learned a lot. And I also love that we have Nesmi, that's a new person on the team, and Dr. J as a guest host that was new as well. I
Yeah.
just love
Yeah.
their energy on our
Dr. J is actually online right now. So she said, hi,
Hey, Dr.
guys.
J.
Yeah, Dr.
Sending some
J's
love.
Dr. J's been fun to work with.
Yeah, she is.
All right, and I am of course Neo Nix. Yeah, it was really hard for me to pick a favorite like you guys, because there were so many. I mean, I named them off, so
Name the ball.
I damn near saw all of them again. So, but I have to agree
Yeah.
with Liz that my favorite was by far our Halloween show. It was just a ton of fun. We were dressed up. We told spooky stories with fantasy writer Erica Lewis, and it was kind of fun because I told the story about the disappearance of Alyssa Lamb from the what was the name of the hotel? Cecil Hotel, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
and then it was cool to actually have the author on, Erica Lewis, telling her scary story from her real life
Hmm.
story. So, yeah, it was a that was a good episode, a fun episode for me. But there's so much to listen to, especially and now we're going to be off for a little while since this is our final episode. We're going to be off till October, so there's a ton to listen to, especially while we're off. Feel free to binge. The podcast is really easy to find. You can watch the clips on our YouTube channel. Rob B does a great job with those clips. So, or you can just go to TLSShow.com and you'll take you right there. Or you can listen to the podcast on your favorite podcast provider. Just search Truth lies, shenanigans, or you can do like I do and go to Alexa and be like, play the Truth, Lies, Shenanigans podcast.
Yeah.
And if you're still having trouble finding us, just go to TLSpod.com. All right.
Time to potty.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into our final show of the season. And
Yay!
okay, if you're on our Facebook page during the week, we share the WTF of the day, random stories that simply make you go, what the? Well, on the weekly podcast, we're now bringing you the TLS WTF of the week. Honey.
Guys, WTF. Listen, I'm all for innovation and inventiveness, but this is a weird story. Whether you know this woman or not, Stephanie
don't.
Matto, her name is. Stephanie Matto, yes. She used to be on 90 Day Fiance. She recently had a successful business selling her fart.
Her farts.
Yes. her flatulence in a jar. She's coming out about how she was actually hospitalized for what she thought was a heart attack, but turned out to be a dangerous buildup of gas inside her body. And it's from her diet of just beans, yogurt, and protein muffins. So,
Ugh,
Beans, yogurt, and
ugh.
protein muffins. That's what she was eating?
Pew,
that's what she
Oh,
was
yeah.
eating to induce,
pew,
to induce
pew.
gas. Yep. Pure toxicness. So now she says her fart selling days are behind her. By the way, fart jokes stink, so I'm not gonna make any.
They fart just stink. I get it.
Nice.
Good,
Good one, Johnny. Good
Johnny.
one,
Oh.
So guys, WTF? What do you think?
let's start with Rob.
Horrible.
I guess this really proves that there's a market for anything.
Clearly.
It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. It's not the first time that I hear about a story like this, but this is the first time that I hear about Ms. Matteau. So, it
Yeah, who is
kind
she?
of put her on my map for the week, but that's going to be about it. So yeah, I mean, it's a real shame that she had to get out of the game, but why would you go public about your gas affliction and pull out of the game? Like, you could literally pay strangers a fraction of what you're getting paid to fart in a jar and sell it as your own. You could waft the air surrounding one of your turds into a jar, and that's just as profitable.
There's a lot of
selling
people
crack.
faking it.
She could have faked it. That's true. I guess they can tell a difference.
Most people are faking it, Lizzie.
So there's one of Jay-Z's first hit songs back in the day, back in the 90s, was a rap song called Can't Knock the Hustle. And for the most part, I that's my motto for people who make money, who get out there and, do their thing. My question is, who in the hell is buying farts?
Oh, that's exactly what your sister said.
Who's buying farts? Like, what are y'all
Why?
doing with it? Huh? Why? Why? Is your own fart not enough?
I watched her
Is
TikTok,
it
and
not potent?
she actually talked
Is
about
it not potent?
how it smells and all this other stuff.
Ew.
So if she goes out on a date, I'm curious if she goes out on the date and like a guy knows who she is, do they want her to fart on the date?
You
Is
might.
farting a
But I
part
mean,
of
let's
her ritual,
let's
her
be honest.
sexual
Farts
routine?
farts have been
It's a
fetishized for some people, and I mean, it's
I
not my
never,
thing.
Rob, I never knew that. I never knew that. Like, I just didn't know there
Oh
was a
yes.
market for this. So
I
I want to
I
see
didn't
the
either.
fart lovers. Who are the fart lovers out here?
I knew there was a market
I
for like
know.
panties, used panties, and stuff like that. I knew about that, but I never heard about the
And
farts.
again,
That's disgusting.
I don't. And what type of fart, what's the most popular fart smell?
chili
I'm
con
really
carne.
curious. I'm really curious about, why this is popular, what makes it popular, and what are people buying? What are people paying for?
Oh,
Really
God.
cool.
So I love the first line of this article where it says she had a fart attack. She thought she was having a heart attack. Okay, anyway. uh, I, I'm glad she's okay, but as I always say, people don't deserve bad things to happen to them, but some people definitely earn it. So, but actually, the first thing that I thought was, I was like, she wasn't bullshitting. I mean, I mean, she might have been shitting, but she wasn't bullshitting. She
Oh.
actually, she was actually putting farts into those bottles, like Rob B was saying. And most people will fake it, but she was actually putting farts in those
She was
bottles.
committed.
Which I
How
mean,
do
she
you fake
changed
a
her
fart?
whole diet to produce more farts.
How do you fake a fart?
No, you could
People
have the fart
like
smell. You could just you can just put little drops with the fart smell in it.
trash.
Yeah.
Like you could just put a
Yeah.
jar in your trash. I don't know. However they do
I
this.
kind of blame Gwyneth Paltrow
You
for
got
this
trash
because
farts, Johnny? Is that what you're saying?
Trash.
Wink,
Gwyneth
wink.
Paltrow kind of started this whole weird obsession with smells, in my opinion.
Oh
At least
yeah,
the
the
public.
coochie.
I
Yeah,
remember
with the
that.
vagina candles, with the vagina scented candles. Like, why is that a thing? Like, why? This is the type of things that I think.
Yeah.
I think incels sit back at their computers and they sniff the vagina scented candles and they buy the farts and they just jack off all day to this stuff. Like, it's just,
It's true.
it's just, ugh,
Dr. J says,
ugh.
"Ill people are
Mhm.
weird." She made $50,000 a week making parts. What are your thoughts, Gianni?
Right?
Mm,
Before we shut this
I
down?
I can't knock her hustle, but I think it's weird. I think that it just shows that people have mental. This is a disorder. If you
You
want
think
to
it's a
buy,
disorder? Okay.
if
you
you want
buying
to
up
buy
farts.
something like this, you have a disorder. I'm sorry. Case closed.
Actually, probably.
Maybe. Could be. Could be.
Robbie probably has jars in his. He's hiding from Joe right now.
Robbie, you got fart jars
Love
over there?
Got fart jars in
Is
it.
that a thing in Canada? Fart jars? Wow.
By the way, Mike Wolf says,
No.
"What am I going to watch in September now?"
Um,
Reruns.
That's
Got
right.
tons of content.
That's right. All right, that was a good one, Gianni. I like that one. All right, let's get into our topics.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, Lizzie, you got this mama wearing some booty shorts in her kid's school. Tell us all
Well, I
about
kind of think that Gianni's topic was a good segue into my topic
it. Good
as it
segue.
relates
The
wow.
booty
to
shorts.
obviously asses, booties, right? But also as it relates to decorum. Like, I honestly think we've lost the level of decorum in society. So this picture
Yeah.
blew up on Twitter on Thursday. It's a picture of a young lady um, escorting a toddler. The baby looks like she's maybe 3 or 4 to school, first day of school probably. And she has on what looks like kind of no top, or if it's a top, it's probably like I don't know,
A
maybe a
tank top.
bra or something, a tank top. But then she also has on booty shorts and her cheeks are kind of hanging out. So a lot of people, went in on Twitter, went in online saying that this is inappropriate, this is disgusting. How could you do this? These are children. But then there was another side, devil's advocate. People were talking about how, first of all, it's creepy that someone took a picture of her. And I'm like, well, I mean, if you go out looking like this in public, you can't be mad if someone took a picture. Although I do not approve of folks taking pictures and posting them online without people's consent, but you're in public
Yeah.
at a school with little
Mhm.
kids. But also there was the argument that, this is another way of shaming Black women and their body. And so I have an opinion about this, obviously, but I'm curious about what my panel thinks. Like, do you think that this is appropriate attire for taking your kid to school? Or do you think it's much ado about nothing in today's society?
Yeah. Before we do that, real quick, I just want to point out RV. I think the name is online on Twitch, and says, "Who in the world will sell farts in here?" All right.
He said, what?
Who in the world?
What they say?
Who in the world would sell farts in here?
Thank you.
Right?
WTF? All
What
right,
y'all
Gianni.
think about
What do you think,
Miss
Gianni,
Girl?
about
Miss
this
Girl.
picture here?
About this
Yeah, about this young lady here.
horrible guys. Come on. I mean, if any of us saw this, we would just be like, we would want to look the other way. It's just, I mean, it's just uncomfortable. It's awkward. Why are you dressing like this? But, the big but, literally, I think that
Johnny still got the
You're on
puns
fire,
coming.
girl. But
She came prepared for the final show.
She
My
still got
goodness.
puns coming today.
But no, I think that if they did enforce like a dress code for parents, I think there would be too much of like, where is the fine line? Because there's parents that could come from like the gym and they'd be sporting like a sports bra and like tight clothes, or like even a parent that comes from like construction and he looks like dirty and slightly like homeless or something. But you know what I mean? So where does it where does it no, I love
That's
construction
fair.
workers. It's a necessary
But no,
job.
it's a fair point.
So I just feel like, yes, it's inappropriate. Maybe the teacher should pull her aside and speak to her because she's an adult. She's not like a kid. So they could just converse with her and just be like, listen, this is not appropriate. I would say that. And if it continues, I don't know.
Maybe.
so the other picture that we had for this was what seemed to be the response from the individual, but the Twitter handle was DJ Strap on Bimbo. So this individual clearly does not hide that she's a hypersexual person or that she wants to at least be perceived as one. So, I mean, she's happy to flaunt her sexuality and more power to her. But for all of the other aunties out there who think that this is okay, I want to remind you that grade school is not your venue. Do better. It's inappropriate attire for the location. There should be a dress code to enter the school because no kid needs to see your butt hanging out. No kid needs to see your girls restrained in your little tube top. And I think that most parents would agree that their child does not need to see you flaunting your camel toe. So please show some decorum. There's a time and place. Is this another example of a Black woman being shamed? I don't care what color her skin is. You could run this picture through every color filter in Photoshop, and it doesn't change the fact that this just isn't right.
All right.
Kids
Um,
don't sexualize though.
that was my point. That was going to be my point. I just think in general we over sexualize women anyway. Is it socially inappropriate? Yeah, sure. Sure. It's because we don't accept it. We don't think it's appropriate, but she can wear whatever she wants. I mean, sure, there's some some buttocks showing, but I've been to beaches a lot lately, and I mean, they damn near wear don't.
This isn't
Hey,
the beach.
They don't wear
But
anything.
still,
But there's a
still,
point. There's a point in your swim attire versus
it's
coming in
fi-
after you're doing the walk, looking like you just did the walk of shame, or you just came from the club, and taking your toddler to school where other children are. Like, let's be real here.
all I'm
Let's be
saying is
real here.
that's a social thing, and I think it's the parents who have the issue, not the children, because the children are not sexually looking at her butt and saying, "Ooh, look at her butt." These are the
But
parents looking at the butt
but the
saying, "Hey,
thing
this is a
is,
problem."
I don't know what type of child you were, but I would have known at 3, 4, 5 that this is not appropriate because we could not walk around the house with booty shorts like this. We had to be covered up. And so if I'm a parent, I'm going to the school and saying, okay, there needs to be a dress code because believe it or not, there are dress codes for the students that attend that school. No student,
Mhm.
young female in that school will be able to wear this. So why can a
There
parent
was a
who's
there was a
dropping
dress
off a
code
child
in this particular school, is what you're saying?
in
In most
there's
public
there's
schools in
no
America.
school in America where a student can wear this during the day. None. None. Guarantee you. None.
But I don't think there's a
And
dress code preventing it necessarily in all schools.
absolutely
Yeah,
there is.
it's
You
the
So
rule
every
with your
school has a dress code, Neo.
finger.
They have
It's
regulations for attire. Absolutely.
the fingertips.
Maybe most.
thank you, Gianni. In most schools, now it may be different for these little charter schools that people send their kids to
Yeah.
because they make their own rules, even though they take public
And
funds.
that's
But
my
that's
point.
another story. But but a lot of times charter schools tend to be more strict than the public schools.
many times.
Definitely private schools, they make, up their own rules, but I guarantee you, students are not walking around with their ass
Well,
cheeks out.
so what's the difference between this and yoga pants?
What do you mean yoga pants? Yoga pants are covering things up. I don't
Okay.
see ass cheeks in yoga pants.
It's-
And in a lot of
but I'm
schools,
saying the difference
in a,
is that
in a, but in a lot of schools, yoga pants, leggings, all of those things are not
Yeah,
allowed,
they are
are
not
not
allowed to.
acceptable,
for a parent
are
to
not
wear,
acceptable. No,
No, for kids.
I'm
and we
talking
don't,
about students. I'm talking
right,
about for
uh,
students because right now there is no dress code for parents.
right. So of course I
But
wouldn't
even with
expect
yo,
student to
but
wear
even with
this.
but even with yoga pants, you're covered up. And the question was Gianni brought up a point about, okay, what if you're covered coming from something? I think if you have a child, you have a responsibility to be prepared for shit. You could put a t-shirt in the back seat. You could put some sweatpants on. Like this
I,
is not what
I
we
still
want
think
to sell
I still
to
think we
our
are over
children. We do
sexualizing
not.
women too much. I mean,
But in this case, she's over sexualizing herself.
I'm
There are stores that
eventually I'm gonna get this
there are
thought out.
there are stores that she would not be able to enter wearing this. White women, black women, Latina women are getting kicked out of Disney World for inappropriate attire. She would not be able to
Yep.
get on a plane with this on. So come on, like let's be real
What do
here.
you mean she
This
wouldn't be
is
able to
not
get on a plane?
appropriate. You
I've
can't wear
seen
this
women
on a
on a
plane.
plane. I've seen women on a plane wearing stuff like
And
that.
I can tell you, go look it up. Go look not with her ass cheeks hanging out like that, Neo. You are a lie. And go look it
Or
up.
something close
Women
to
have
it.
no, 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 no,
but,
no. Don't
but
don't
I
try
was
to
still
cop
trying to
out
get this
now.
point out. I'm still trying to get this point out.
But go look up the stories. Women have been put off of planes for inappropriate attire.
Yep.
I'm sure
It's
it's
a
happened.
thing. It's a
Okay.
thing. And so I do think if I'm running a school, if I'm the damn superintendent, if I'm the principal, no. You put on some sweatpants, put on a t-shirt. That is not a lot to ask. It really isn't. Especially when you're dealing
So
with youth.
I still
Our
feel
youth.
as though I'm
absolutely.
trying. Hold on, Rob. I'm trying to get this thought out. All right, I keep getting cut off. so, uh, I think that we're over sexualizing women. And in general, historically, we've over sexualized women in general. We've created a social stigma, and it's created by adults because of men looking at women like pieces of meat, and women feeling some kind of way about that, especially wives. And then, of course, TVs and movies don't help with the sexualization of women. Although I will say it probably has helped with desensitizing us to sexualization of women, and people feeling like this is okay to wear. I mean, if you think about the '50s, before TV was really a thing, they had to wear clothes to their ankles. Women did, and men, men didn't look right without suits and ties. Now it's relatively normal for dudes and women to don streetwear with their butts hanging out. Shoot, boys. I mean, you see men with their butts hanging out all the time. Lizzo.
I
So
would
if we
say the
remove the
same.
gender
Ooh,
bias, Neo, let's say I walked into school wearing this outfit. I'm going to cover
wearing
up
a
my
speedo.
breast meats and
No,
my
Rob,
dirty
wearing a
skin.
speedo. Wearing a speedo,
Wear,
Rob. Wearing a speedo.
wearing a
You got
speedo
your
and a
junk
little
just
tube top,
missing
Neo.
out.
So now let's have the
And a
conversation about me walking in with a tube top and a speedo, dropping off my granddaughter at school.
It's
Is
not
it appropriate,
appropriate.
Neo? Have I
It's
been
not appropriate.
hypersexualized? Is it okay?
Yeah, I
Is
think
it
it is over
attractive?
sexualized. I don't think the kids care.
I think they would
It was,
care.
and you brought up Lizzo. I remember Lizzo was one of my topics this
Yeah, I
year
remember we
when
had a
she came
conversation about it
to the basketball game with her
with
ass
her
out,
buttless
soaking,
chaps, but
soaking
whatever it
up,
was,
secreting
sitting
all
on the
over the
chair.
seat. It's not appropriate. Now, if she wants to do
But
that
she's
at her,
also she's also made large women feel comfortable in their
you
bodies
can
as
make
well.
but she could do that on her own time. She could do that at her concerts. This was a
Like not in
basketball
school.
game. Not in school, not at a basketball game where people have not paid money to see that. That's the point I'm making. Lizzo. She wants to do that on stage for her concert. Girl, knock yourself out. Work it. Like what's her name? Megan Thee Stallion. Body, 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 body. Whatever that song is, do it. But you don't do it in a public place where people have not paid for that, where the expectation is you're going to have some decorum. And at that same basketball basketball game, they were throwing people out about signs that referred to LGBTQ stuff. So
Oh
hypocrite
wow.
much? Hypocrite much? But yeah, I would say the same thing, Rob, if this were a guy who came into the school in Speedos, if a guy came into the school with no shirt on, like come on. If we want our kids to get back to being having a certain level of decorum, we have to set the example as adults. We
I,
have
s-
to set the example as adults.
I still don't. I mean, I still don't see how you're making the difference that. I mean, when again, those same kids spent the whole summer at the beach watching women and men in
Again,
speedos and everything
again,
else, and there's
well,
nothing
first of all,
wrong
you
with
can't.
that.
Well, first of all, you can't even say those same kids because you don't know if any of these kids went to the beach.
Okay,
Second,
of course I'm
second,
generalizing. I don't know if this particular young
second,
girl went to the beach.
there's a point,
That
there's a
doesn't make
purpose
sense.
in wearing a bathing suit. Yes, it is. I'm just responding to what you said. There's a purpose in wearing a bathing suit at a pool, at a beach. There's no purpose in this outfit in taking this
There's
child
no
looks like he's
purpose
a
to wearing a
preschooler.
thong versus versus wearing a full bathing suit at a beach. What are you talking about? There's women wearing thongs constantly where where you basically see everything. What are you talking about?
Okay, so there's
I
no
feel
purpose
like
in
this.
wearing a Speedo either, but that's still the beach.
Yeah.
It's
There's
not.
plenty of
Right,
banana
but
hammocks
the
out there
point
It's
too.
is,
appropriate time. But it's the
you're
expectation for the
defining
beach.
it.
But no, but it's the expectation for the beach. You take your child to the
How do you
beach,
know that this
knowing
woman
people are going to have.
didn't expect to take her child inside and was just in and just had to
That's
take her
why I
there?
said, as a parent,
Be
and this is
I
prepared as
think
a
you got
parent.
it's again. It's the parents over
she's not the
sexualizing.
she's not the child's mother. She claims she's the niece.
All
I'm
right,
sorry, she claims she's the auntie.
we gotta stop.
Be prepared.
All right.
Be prepared because would she go on a job interview with this if she wants to work in corporate America?
She might if it was corporate America. Okay,
And yeah,
I was
exactly.
gonna
Yeah.
say she might.
I ain't talking
She
about
might go to
She might
strip
be on
at
her way
club.
to work.
club. I'm talking about at corporate America.
She
No,
might get a
there's
nice
time
job.
and a place
Shoot.
for everything. And why don't you want to set a good example for children? And I don't buy into the argument that children don't know. You are underestimating
Yeah.
kids' intelligence.
Okay, we got a lot.
Most
Yep.
certainly
Let's
not.
get to these comments. We got to
Most
move on.
certainly not.
There's a lot of great comments online. All right, so we've got start at the top. Okay. Wow, it's a lot. All right. Uh, Jacqueline Robinson started with that poor child. Robin Johnson, she doesn't have on a bonnet or pajamas and has clothes on. I feel meh about her outfit. As a mom who just literally returned from shopping with her curvy teen, some clothes just look away on body types. Yeah, her curvy clothes look away on body types. Right. That it looks different on her particular butt than it would on maybe a
This
different
is
person's
the big
butt who's smaller.
really.
But why
They
do we got to deal with half naked butts in school for children?
I
That's
mean, but
my point.
anyway. They recently
like
tried to fire a woman stating that she was too curvy for preschool. The kids don't care what you look like. I wouldn't wear it though.
That's
But
true.
that's a different topic. Deeming that someone is
No, it's
too
part of the
curvy,
topic.
it's not part of the topic
No.
because you can't do anything about being curvy. You can do
Oh,
something about
the curvy is
having
what
your
you're
ass
talking about.
cheeks out. Yeah,
All right,
you could do something about having your ass cheeks out.
Mike Wolf. She's just dropping the kid off. She's not teaching the class.
Yeah, but she's walking through the school.
All right,
If
Jacqueline
if she
Robinson.
was just sitting in her car dropping the kid off, it would not be a topic of conversation.
Jacqueline Robinson. Children are cruel, Neo, and her child wouldn't hear the end of it. Plus, they repeat what they hear their parents say at home. She can't be more than like 5 or 6 years old. This young girl. Her kids aren't the same.
She's walking through the school, Neo.
Those kids are not talking about her mama's butt.
Okay, I don't know what type of school you went to, but I
5 and
most
6 year
certainly
olds
would
are
have
not.
I most certainly would have been talking about her mom's
Hell
butt.
yes.
100%.
No, 5 and 6 year olds are not doing
100%.
that. Who was the last 5 and 6 year old you went to who was talking about somebody's butt hanging out?
Me.
Really,
Well,
Neil?
because
You don't
their
remember?
butts hanging out, but I certainly talked about somebody's mama at 5 and 6.
All right.
Believe that.
All right.
Believe that.
Dave Boyega says, "Sorry, Neo, I'm with Liz Z on this one. The woman is sexualizing herself here." Robin John says, "I agree with Neo. We are making women's bodies as only for sexual purposes. Yep.
Now, I'm,
No,
I'm
clearly
not
for
Nice to
making
display
a woman.
also.
What other purpose is this for in a school?
Maybe she was
Again,
just, I mean, maybe this is what she like her pajamas and she just had to take, she didn't intend to take her kids in.
maybe.
Eh,
like I
She,
I
said,
don't know.
there are
I,
other
Maybe
places
it's
where she
laundry
would not be
day. That's why she
allowed
went in
to
her
wear
laundry,
underwear.
it
this.
could be laundry day.
There,
I'm just,
like I
it's not
said,
really
there
that
are
bad.
other places where she would not be allowed to wear this. I
Not
think
that serious. Yep.
schools should be on that list.
All
I
right.
think schools should be
Yep.
on that list.
I
Truth,
wouldn't wear
lies,
this.
Is this
shenanigans.
truth, lies, or shenanigans? Great comments online, by the way, everyone.
This is
Thanks for
This is
participating.
a whole lot of
shenanigans with a whole lot of no.
It's a little shenanigans. Okay. I mean, I do, I agree with uh, Robin in that
And notice,
I wouldn't wear
and,
it.
and notice, I'm glad that none of us brought up the idea because a lot of the dress codes in schools for girls, the premise is what it's going to do for boys, what the boys' reaction is going to be, how it's going to make the boys feel. And
Mm.
I appreciate that none of that came up in this conversation because I'm not worried about just the boys. I'm worried about both the boys and the girls, little children, period.
yeah.
Do better, dress better, give them a
All right, we're
better
gonna move on. We're
image,
gonna move on
give
because I
them a
disagree. We're gonna get into
better
another
role model.
conversation. All
I
right,
mean, if you when you have your kids, if you
we go.
want to be walking around with,
The
your
kids
little,
don't need to be walking around
on.
like, but I mean, there are
No,
kids out there
I said
walking
you.
around like
I
that.
said, I said you. And I guarantee you, Mel ain't gonna want some
All right,
little
well, we got to move
teacher.
on to the
What if
next
the
topic.
teacher? What if the teacher
All
had
right,
her
we're going to,
ass
where's the
off?
mute button? I haven't pulled out the mute button in a long time. All right.
Stop me.
Lies.
All right. All right, Robbie, tell us about the indigenous community finally getting water.
All right. So, despite being one of the most water rich nations in the world, for generations, Canada has been unwilling, unable to guarantee access to clean water for Indigenous peoples. So, the water in dozens of communities has been considered unsafe to drink for at least a year, and the government has admitted to its failure. In 2015, when Justin Trudeau was running for office, he made a promise to end the scourge of unsafe water in more than 100 First Nations communities in the country by the end of March of 2021. So if we're talking about it in August 2022, they've missed the mark. So yeah. So to date, they really have no credible excuse for how communities have gone decades without clean water. Members of the Cowichan Tribes First Nation on Vancouver Island have lived along the Indian Road since the 1940s, but haven't had potable water during that entire time. So last month, 20 households from the community were connected to the city of Duncan's water supply. Fun fact, the city of Duncan was founded in 1912, so before the 40s, and it's located 2 kilometers from the reservation. So that's 1.2 miles. My question to you is this just a drop in the bucket or the start of making good on Canada's promise?
Real quick. So you said they didn't have potable water, so that means like they didn't have what where were they? Where were they? What kind of water were they getting?
So the water was tainted. If you listen to some of the article or some of the videos and stuff, some of it was tainted brown, tasted like salt. Some of the complaints were if you treated bug bites with the water that came directly from the tap, it would actually develop into a rash or aggravate it. So
So
people
was it like
have
well
to.
water? They
Well,
were getting well water. Is that was it? Or how were they
it's
getting? Or was it straight
yeah.
from the river? Do you know?
Yeah, from the well.
I,
It was
to,
from
to
well.
be honest, I guess it would be a mix of wells. It would be a mix of water supplies, mixed water supplies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So most of these communities are under boiled water advisory all of the time. But some of them would go to, say, the gas station with jugs of water and they would fill up there. So they would get their water from there, or you can buy water in bulk. If the next nearest city is 1.5 miles, you have to drive, but you don't have it coming directly to your home
Yeah. So
until a month ago.
yeah, when I think of like, because we have here in the U.S. a lot of rural areas that aren't connected to the public water or sewer lines. And I don't know, they get by just fine without with just well water or septic tanks. I'm assuming that maybe they just couldn't afford clean well water, or I don't know, or they couldn't afford to filter their well water, or
Yeah,
I'm
the
not sure. I'm
filter.
not sure what it was. I'm not sure how they were getting their water, but maybe they just didn't have the money to do it. Because, like I say, I would say more than half our country is not on public water supply. Especially when you start to go down south and Midwest and things like that, they're using well water or other things like that. So, but if they're having problems where the water is not clean and stuff like that, um, yeah, that's horrible. I mean, it's good that they finally are getting a running tap water, and they're finally connecting them. It's just when I was hearing about it, it was like, it's sort of like what we have here. But I was trying to figure out how our communities get by, and because my grandmother was also on and had a home in a rural area there. She was using well water, but she did have sewer and stuff like that. But her well water, and the well water, of course, didn't taste great. It doesn't have fluoride like tap water does. So, of course, people's teeth, like in West Virginia, you'll see people with bad teeth and stuff like that because they don't have their own well water and stuff like that. So, yeah, but I think it's a great thing. I'm glad to see Trudeau uh, taking action there. What do you think, Johnny?
No, that's it's what why did it take so long? I think it's kind of mind blowing that it's like a drop in the bucket towards progress, but that's just what it is, a drop in the bucket. And it still really is shocking to know that still so many communities, like even now, um, in the in the indigenous, I think they're tribes. You said, Rob, in Canada, they still don't have clean water access. There's still a lot of them that don't. I think it's like 30 to
Mhm.
40. Um, it reminds me of like Flint over here, Flint, Michigan, and how
Thank you,
they had the
Gianni.
whole
Thank you,
toxic
Gianni.
situation. And I think that government, I remember reading the article, I couldn't understand all of the technical terms, but I do remember it saying basically the government wasn't paying for the water to be filtered or to be cleaned in those indigenous tribes. And so it was like nobody was doing it. Nobody was cleaning the water or filtering it.
They
Um,
didn't have the infrastructure in place to treat the water. That is what the issue is in a lot of those communities.
and there was a tribe member, I think her name was Adrian. Let me see. She says that the water from, hold on. She says the water from her well was unusable, and she remembers her father filling jugs from a water at a gas station for 14 years. And
Mm.
another member says when her babies were infants, they had to boil the water, let it cool, and then fill up their bathtubs just so they could bathe. So for them to miss the mark, I mean,
Yeah,
the karma.
I
They've
mean,
done.
it's a
Yeah.
shame. I mean, I don't even know how the communities, because like I say, the United States, and I'm not talking indigenous community. I'm talking about just regular people in rural areas don't have the same issue, especially like West Virginia and things like that. They
Right.
just don't have access to, like you say, clean water. I mean, I don't know why West Virginia is particularly the one that comes to mind, but um, I know that's an issue. Like I say, in 2022, we're still having that same issue. I mean, it's just crazy. But I will say, I mean, just to make one other point, I don't know, well water in some ways is actually better than tap water. Uh, if it's properly filtered and if it's not contaminated, mostly
Spring
because it doesn't
water.
have all those chemicals. I mean, if you knew the chemicals that are in tap water, you would be like, it's it's pretty uh it's pretty aggressive chemicals, the chlorine, and there's a
Oh
lot
yeah.
in tap water that's
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
it's pretty
You know,
intense. Um, but again, we don't. Yeah. Anyway, sometimes well water is better. Just depends on the situation. Doesn't sound like theirs was though.
yeah.
Lizzie.
I mean, there are a lot of ifs though with well water.
Yep. True.
And
Can be
if it's
contaminated really
filtered,
easily.
if it's clean, if it's not contaminated, I think this is a good thing, but a travesty of justice in the 21st century. And it's just
Yeah.
Yep.
another example of, indigenous people not being taken care of, minority groups not being taken care of, people who are a different socioeconomic status are being
Poor
overlooked
people.
and not taken care of, poor people, if you will, not being
Yeah.
taken care of. And it's a shame. Like, okay, it's great that this is finally happening now, but it's 2022. It's 2022. Like, this should not be like, oh my God, yes, in 2022. And so
No.
Mhm.
hopefully, Rob, that hopefully this becomes the norm and not just, the exception, but even in like in America, so the United States, we have one of the um, best water filtration systems in the world. However, like Gianni brought up, in Flint, Michigan in 2014, all hell broke loose when they figured out that the water was contaminated with lead. I remember
Yep.
back in the 90s, several times coming home to Washington, D.C., you could not drink the tap water. Like they
Wow.
would do
I
like
remember
public
that.
service announcements of how you could not drink the tap water. If you were to drink it, you needed to boil it first because one of
Yep.
the sources out in Chesapeake Bay, there were chicken droppings and other nastiness that was in the water that had not been filtered,
Wow.
you know. And like Neo said, you go to certain areas in this country where people are still living below the poverty level. Yes, they are drinking water that is not safe. And
Hmm.
so, yeah,
Yeah.
folks are getting by, but we don't know how well they're getting by. Like, yeah, they may be living, but we don't know what they're living with.
Life
What that
expectancy is lower. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
What diseases they have, what health issues they're going through. And so this is a thing. This is really a thing. And, I think it kind of gets into your topic that we're coming up with, Neo, in terms of what we actually pay taxes for.
Mm.
But this should be a no brainer.
What are
This
your
should
thoughts,
really
Rob?
Hmm.
be a no brainer.
What are your
Clean
thoughts,
water.
Rob?
Yeah.
Clean water.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that this is long overdue, and like Johnny said, like it's mind blowing that it's taken this long, like to tap like 2 kilometers away, 1.2 miles to tap
Mm,
into a water supply. It shouldn't have taken 80 years to do this for this community. Um, I promise you, if there was oil in these communities, that they would find a way to
mm.
build a pipeline to get that oil
Preach,
out.
Rob.
But
You better
we
preach,
can't
Rob.
seem to build a pipeline to get them clean water. But I
Okay.
just wanted to note that despite the progress, there are water advisories still present in 94 First Nations communities. So that's about 1 in every 6 First Nations communities. And that was the start of 2022. The ISC, Indigenous Services Canada, data indicates that there are at least 29 communities across Canada still operating under a boil water advisory. There are still 34 long term drinking water advisories on reserves, including some that have been in place for more than 25 years. Wrap your head around that. There's an issue with the
Wow.
water, and it's still ongoing 25 years down the road. And like Johnny mentioned, there's a deficit in funding for the maintenance and the operation of drinking water systems on the reserves. So now that they've kind of got things going, they estimate that the issue with clean drinking water will not be fully addressed until 2023, 2024, and that it will take till 2025, 2026 to make sure that we have long-term solutions that are sustainable. So
Well,
it's I'm glad that it's happening. It's just shameful that it's taken this long, and it's shameful that there's still so many communities that are doing with it.
Some great
yeah.
comments online. We've got Robin Johnson, Dr. J saying, horrible that this is just getting righted in 2022. Flint, Michigan still doesn't have clean water. Companies like
Mm.
No.
Nestle want to make water for profit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then Sherry Blaine Savory says, disappointing it took so long. Unfortunately, many other issues with the community continue to be unresolved. I guess the indigenous community. I wish
Yeah.
government would start putting money into these types of matters ahead of others and just throw money at it randomly. Uh,
Please.
Jos- Jose says it must be life changing for the people finally get clean water. I could never imagine. Um,
Yeah.
there are still so many communities in the U.S. and Canada that don't have access to clean water. It blows my mind. Yeah, that was the
And
first thing that
remember,
came to my
people, it's
mind.
it's not only drinking, it's brushing your teeth, it's washing, putting water on your skin. It's a lot of different things that clean water
Mm-hmm.
affects about our
Food.
livelihood.
Yes.
Yeah, food, cooking, all of
Truth,
that, all of
lies,
that.
All
shenanigans.
right, is this truth, lies, or shenanigans? I got
A dose
I
of
mean, truth.
truth.
That's saying shenanigans. Good stuff,
I'm
Rob.
in my truth.
You're bringing us
It's
truth
true.
every week now. Good stuff.
I know.
Non non-intentional.
All right. Let's jump into. Give me 1 second.
That's good.
Okay. Cool. All right. Let's go ahead and get to our last and final topic of the day.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, and that's me. So on Wednesday, President Joe Biden announced his plan to forgive up to $10,000 in federal student debt for people making less than $125,000 a year. He also announced that he'd be extending the payment pause for federal loans that was implemented back early in the pandemic. But of course, not everyone agrees with the plan. Most Democrats agreed, but a few claim that there were better ways to spend the money, like a few people would have preferred eliminating medical debt, claiming it was far more fair and equal for those people that never went to college. And of course, all the Republicans hated the plan, including Rob's girlfriend, Marjorie Taylor Greene, calling out the
No.
White
Well,
House, claiming it
that's your
wasn't
girl.
fair.
That's your girl. That's your boo thing, Rob.
That's my girl, Cro-Mag Taylor.
Cro-Mag Taylor.
Cro-Mag
She-
Taylor Green.
She called out the White House, claiming it wasn't fair for the government to forgive this debt because some people, quote, played by the rules and paid off their debt already. But what was funny was the White House clapped back on Twitter, retweeting their comments and then attaching some receipts showing where a ton of Republicans, like Rob's girlfriend uh, and Trump's buddy Matt Gaetz and others, received hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars of PPP business loans during the pandemic, and they had their debt forgiven just a year ago or so. Then Senator Elizabeth Warren took it a step further, pointing out that old ass Senator McConnell graduated from a school that costs $330 a year and has done nothing to fix skyrocketing college tuition. That's like well over like $50,000 a year in many cases.
Okay.
But for some reason, he's irate that the president is stepping up to help millions of working Americans drowning in debt. So, my question to you guys, is this the right thing to do? Will it even help? And if not, what would you have used the money for? Let's start with Liz on this
Of course, it's the right thing to do. And I speak as someone who has 3 degrees, who at one point had over $100,000 of student loan debt, paid most of it off, cried when my first 2 big loans was paid off. I cried.
Mhm.
I cried. But do I feel like, oh, well, I had to pay mine, so everyone else should have to pay theirs? Absolutely not. How selfish can you be? Listen, education equals power in a capitalist society, in a democracy. And this is another example of conservatives, of Republicans, of white males in this country trying to stick it to poor people, trying to stick it to the lower classes and make it so that it's not a level playing field.
Yep.
Listen, think about what we pay taxes for, okay? We pay taxes for, or let me even take it back even further to Jim Crow. Black people for years paid taxes for school, for libraries, for public parks and recreation, for pools, all of those things that we legally could not use. But we were still getting taxes taken out of our paychecks. Okay. We also give tax exemptions to mega churches. We did get tax exemptions, to bail out the banks. During, I think it was in 2017, Trump gave tax exemptions or bailouts to the wealthy. So why can't
tax
we
breaks.
give young people, college students, try to alleviate the debt that they have coming out of the block so they can try to get a job that all of their money isn't going into paying all of this student loan debt. And let me say something about the debt. It's not even the actual loan, it's the interest. It's the interest that
yes.
gets people.
Yeah.
And so that's something that needs to change. That pisses me off. And then beyond this conversation, nobody is still talking about how expensive it is to educate people post-secondary
Yeah.
education in this country. This is why
Yep.
people are taking out loans, is because it costs so much to go to college. That's the big
Yeah.
issue. But do
Yeah.
I have a problem with this? Absolutely not. More
No,
power to them.
that's right.
More power to them.
Robbie?
More power to them.
Yeah. Is this a good thing? Yes. Could the money have been used differently? Also, yes. Are people without student loans that qualify for debt forgiveness crying foul? Also, yes. But I think that this is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I was reading that nearly 8 million borrowers are maybe eligible to receive debt forgiveness automatically because the Department of Education already has their income information. That's unreal. And from my personal experience, we'll go back a little way, but when I was a single dad on a fixed income living in geared to income housing and was going to school full time, I needed an OSAP loan, which is basically an Ontario based loan to go to school. And this, I was able to complete my undergrad, I was able to attend teachers college. And while I was on campus, while I was during my student career, I marched from our school campus to our member of parliament's office for lower tuition. Um, I was really fortunate when it came time to repay my student loans because I was able to secure a lower interest loan for the full amount of my student loan with the help of my dad. So I was
Nice.
paying a lower interest rate. So that was a bonus. And then sometime after I had graduated and moved everything over, I received a check from the Student Loan Association for a pretty reasonable amount just before Christmas. And I had to call them, find out what was going on. And it turned out that because of the timing of my loan and the changes in regulations, I qualified for loan forgiveness, but I was outside of the system. So they had to pay me out just with a check. But
Nice.
with that money, Neil, I was able to fix my car. I was able to pay off a chunk of my student loan and better provide for my kids. And the
Mm-hmm.
changes in the rules also meant that future borrowers would not be disadvantaged or burdened like I was. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
all for the changes in these rules because
Mhm.
if you do have that opportunity, they create those opportunities for you to get into school, whether it be community college, whether it be college. I think that this is just a wonderful thing that anyone who's crying foul on this needs to really check because I love what Liz was, what you've all been sharing about, like just other debt forgiveness, interest forgiveness, just for the rich. Well, no, it's the people at the other end of the spectrum that need these breaks to create opportunities so that we can then prop up everybody else around us.
All right, Johnny, the college student.
This I'm gonna be a little bit different, but I do agree personally. This will affect me positively, of course, because it'll get rid of a lot of my personal student loan debt. So I'm excited about that. But I feel like, in theory, it's not a bad thing. I think the plan could have been better instead of just giving like you guys said, like a temporary relief to just the student debt. It could have changed like the system of pursuing and attending college. So they make college kind of seem like it's a guaranteed
Mhm.
investment in a way, like you're guaranteed to make this amount as soon as you finish. And that's obviously, it makes no sense and it's not proven. So I think it would be interesting to see like colleges actually receive tuition from students after like the fact, when like those students are in their careers, or
Interesting.
like if their careers afford them to pay back those schools. Or I think that like the
Mm.
funding for schools like on a state level could be based on that school or that state or something. But I think that they just need to, I don't know, I'm trying different, I'm saying different things because I feel like there needs to be a change in the system in general.
Yeah,
Like,
so you're throwing
thank
out,
you,
you're
Biden, for this.
brainstorming.
So,
Yeah,
Johnny, I'm going to
I'm
bring
really
it back. I'm going to bring it back to the idea that I keep throwing out there, but it's something that Americans are very averse to. Higher taxation for everyone to provide better opportunities for everyone.
See,
That's
I
if
don't
you want to
even know
bring
that you
call.
need higher taxation to solve the problems we're talking about.
Yeah, you do.
yeah.
Well, but
Not the
also
That's
specific
part of
problem.
it. That's part of
that's
it.
N-
it would have to be a total change with the infrastructure, because that would
It
only
would.
apply to state school. There are gazillion private universities. Like, I went for undergrad, I went to the University of Colorado. However, for grad, I went to NYU. NYU is private. They can charge however
whatever they
much
want,
they
and which
want,
is fine. Yeah.
and
But that's
which is
fine though.
fine.
Yeah.
But taxes doesn't apply to that. The federal government can't tell them what they can charge for tuition. So it would
But
work
then it puts it
possibly
in
at this
your hand.
So, so real quick,
it
I
would work possibly at the state level, but private, there just needs to be some type of overhaul that I don't even think we have the capability
yeah.
to enforce.
So
If you get what I'm saying, like it's
I can
Yeah.
I just want to say, I mean, I get some of the argument that the same amount of money could be used to forgive medical debt or some stuff like that. But I hate when
and
people
not
try to
everyone has
argue.
medical debt.
Right, that's true. And I hate it when people argue about like there are better ways to get one thing done by dealing with another problem. I don't see why we can't just solve both issues. Why can't we solve college debt and medical debt issue
yeah. Why is it
independently?
Mhm.
Now,
But
my
also
biggest
everyone doesn't have medical debt, so that's not even a fair
that's true.
right,
argument.
exactly. And then I
That's
think my biggest problem with it was it's not a lot. I mean, it's $10,000 is piddly shit. I
It's
mean,
could you say that? How you can yell it? $10,000 is not a lot for
most
the
people coming out of
average
school
person
looking
who
at
has loans.
at least
It
$50,000 in
is.
debt. And
Mhm.
they
I would say six
say
figure.
they
I would
said
say
that the
six figure.
I had to look it up because I was trying to figure out like they say that the plan will completely wipe out debt for about 20 million people, and then leaves about 23 million people still with remaining debt. That's lots of debt, but see what it doesn't include is those people with those private loans, the ones where there
Mhm.
wasn't enough federal money
yeah.
to cover the actual tuition, right?
The
So
I'm
went
seeing
like,
I'm
Sally.
thinking similar to what Johnny was saying was I'd like to see more done with making community college and public universities free or at least very well subsidized so that there's reasonable maximum, like this a reasonable amount that a person has to pay out of their money, out of their pocket.
Yeah.
And when I said that you may not need to raise your taxes, you know how much money they're spending supporting fossil fuels and how much money they're spending just supporting, for example, Ukraine alone. I mean,
Or no, or even before you get to that, just the defense budget.
right,
The
the defense
defense
budget.
budget.
I mean, if we just
It's ridiculous.
reallocated or policing, if we reallocated some of the funds properly, we may have to raise taxes, yes, but I don't think it would be such a
they would get
significant thing that it could hurt us
Well,
so much if we just rediverted some money. Go ahead, Liz.
as a Washingtonian, I'm never going to advocate for raising taxes in Washington D.C. until we become a state. So hell no, hell taxation without
I don't like
representation
you
in the
raising up
city,
the tax.
Right.
hell no. But think about it this way. Again, in the United States is the only country in this world where secondary education across the board is this expensive. In Europe, I mean, you could go to university for next to nothing. And we're talking about some of the best STEM, scientific, mathematical minds in the world in other countries, and they are not beholden to all of this debt. It's greed, it's a sense of privilege. The privilege comes in with all of these Republicans who are crying foul. But like you guys pointed out, let's talk about all of this money they take from the government for free on their own in other
Mm-hmm.
areas,
Yep.
specifically,
Mhm.
the bailouts or the
Mm-hmm.
PPP loans and all
Mm-hmm.
of that stuff.
Millions of
They have a
dollars.
lot of
Millions of dollars
hundreds of millions
to
of dollars. They have a
themselves.
lot of nerve. They have a lot of
Yes.
nerve. They have a lot of
To
nerve.
themselves.
All right.
Hmm.
Real quick, let's see. We've got a lot of comments online. So this is Jacqueline Robinson, the slattern with the E-cloven hooves, aka Rob's boot thing. Should have just sat there and ate her food. It's the right thing to do, and this faux class warfare that the GOP wants to start is supremely disingenuous. Jose says, louder for the people in the back. Yes. Ade Boyega says, it's the right thing to do. I'm glad President Biden did this. Sherry Blaine Savory. This was a very, this was a super, I'm sorry, I was super interested in this topic. I wonder why the root cause of the initial cost could not be addressed in the first place. Give people a break at the
Mhm.
beginning when it counts, not bill just to create debt and then forgive it in the end. Seems there could be a better way. Speaks to what Gianni was saying.
Yeah.
Adebuyega says, I know the preferred amount should have been $50,000, but this is a wonderful start to debt forgiveness, and you can add to this down the line. Yeah, it's a start. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And Robin
It's a
Johnson, the loan debt is such an albatross around the neck of millions. And then was more comments still popping up. Hold on. Jacqueline Robinson, there are for-profit schools that prey on low-income and unemployed people with the promise of a degree or certificate and job placement. They end up having to start over again when the degree or certificate isn't accepted by an accredited school or a potential
Yes.
employer. Sherry Blaine
Yeah.
says, I agree, Neil Nix, making education affordable in the first place is where I'm at. All right. Who is this truth, lies, or shenanigans?
This is some truth.
Truth.
Yeah.
Truth. Yes.
Truth.
Thank you, Biden.
And let me
I mean,
just
I don't
say,
have any
one of the
student
reasons
debt.
why
I did. What did I do? What did Marjorie say? She said I did it the right way or whatever. I already did that, so I paid off
And that's
Yeah,
so
Mark,
my
offensive.
debt.
That really is so
It
offensive.
really
You
is
have people, students who are going to school trying to do things the
the
right
right
way.
way. Yep.
And
Yeah.
when they
Exactly.
graduate, they come out, they have all of this debt, and they're not even getting jobs that will help them
Unemployment's
dwindle
horrible.
that day down.
Yep.
It's awful. But again, it comes from a place of privilege.
Yep.
Because
No
a lot of
question.
these
Oh, yes.
Republicans who are talking all this mess don't have student loan debt.
No, they don't.
They never had to take out a loan.
All right.
They took
Let's,
out a PPP loan, but not a student
all
loan.
right. Let's switch gears. We're over time again, so let's switch gears. Get on our game show. All right, today's game is the 7-second challenge, the season's most popular game. The app will give you each a challenge that you will have 7 seconds to complete to get a point. You will need to successfully do the challenge, judged by me. And if you choose not to do the challenge or do not do it in time or correctly, then you get nothing. And we're not going to be skipping challenges just because Lizzie doesn't want to do it.
Peter.
Person with the most points gets the final thought for our season finale show.
As
Right.
soon as you hear judged by me, y'all know where this is going.
All right. All right, let's get started. All right, we're starting with Johnny Storm. You have 7 seconds to name 5 planets.
Oh my
All right,
God.
starting
Planet.
now. 5 planets starting now. Go.
Mars, Jupiter, Venus, Pluto, Mercury.
Yes. Correct.
No. Pluto is not a
Well,
planet, my
technically,
friend.
I was gonna say technically, Pluto
It
has
was.
been deemed no
That's
longer a planet.
true.
It's an
That's
ice
true.
giant. Pluto is not a planet.
Oh,
give it
that's
to her.
true. I'm giving it to her. I'm sorry, Rob.
Let's give it to her.
I'm gonna
Let's
give it to her.
Let's give it to her.
I'm gonna sorry, Robbie.
Let's give it to her.
And you're right.
I'm giving it to her. It's judged by me. It's judged by me. All right. All right. Lizzie, make 5 animal sounds. You have 7 seconds starting now.
Good grief. Wolf, meow.
Two, time's up.
Wrong answer.
I gave you 5.
You were,
But not in 7 seconds.
She's like, oh my goodness. Okay. Let me see. All right. Oh, wow. This is a great one, Robbie. All right, Robbie. Sing the theme to the Golden Girls. You have
I love
7
that.
seconds starting now.
This is the type of shit
Thank
I'm
you for
talking about.
being a friend. Travel down that road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a friend in a confidant.
That is correct, Robbie. Well
And
done.
if you threw a party.
All right, Gianni, you're going to do the whole thing. All right, Gianni and Robbie are in the lead. All right.
Love.
Gianni, you get all the impressions, Gianni. I guess the app thinks you're the impressionist. All right, Gianni, you have 7 seconds to do a Barack Obama impression. Look at the ears. That's funny. All right, go.
This is a problem. I don't know.
I
not
don't
giving
know.
it out.
I'm not giving. I don't know. It was close though. Okay, I'm not gonna.
You know what you
I
should have
tried
done,
to get
Gianni?
in character.
When he was like, boom, when he dropped the
Wrong
mic,
answer.
boom.
That would have been
Oh,
good.
yeah.
I would have said we're going with that all the way. All right, Lizzie, your chance to catch up. Without saying the name, get one of your friends to guess your favorite song. So somebody on the panel, without saying the name of the song, get one of your friends to guess your favorite song. So Yanni and Robbie, you got to participate.
George Michael's slow song from the 90s. He's talking about one of his loves, or love that got away from him.
Careless Whisper.
There you go.
Oh, okay. she ran off before I said go, but she got it within 7 seconds. So good job, Robbie. All right, should give you an extra point. All right,
The song was
Oh,
very
Robbie.
popular at work.
Robbie,
But let me just say, that wasn't even a favorite song. But I'll let
Robbie,
you know. So
you have
thank
7
Robbie.
seconds
Thank you,
to
Robbie.
pick your nose. I have to see it to make sure you do it. So starting now.
Farting. Like, what is.
Oh, smart. He put a Kleenex in there.
Good
All
one,
right.
Rob. Good one, Rob.
That's smart. That is
Oh,
correct.
thank you. I needed that.
All
Thank you.
right. Robbie's in the lead with 2 points. Everybody else has got 1. All right, one more round here.
Oh, Gianni, this is easy.
All right, Gianni. Freestyle rap using the word but. You have 7 seconds to freestyle rap. I'll give you a second to think about it.
Come on, Gianni. This
Freestyle
is
rap
easy.
using the word but. All right?
Okay.
Starting now. Go.
I saw her butt. I was like, what? I'm trying. I'm trying not to call her a.
Oh, okay, all right. I'll give you that. That was good. Okay, you couldn't say it. All right, you tried not to say it. I forgive you that. All right. All right. You trying to keep it clean. I got you. All right.
Oh, that was a bad.
That was good,
That
actually.
was
I liked it.
great.
I thought it was good.
Loved it.
I thought it was good.
I
All right.
saw her butt. I was
Lizzie,
like, what?
you got 7 seconds to say the number before 1 trillion. 7 seconds to say the number before 1 trillion. Starting now.
What? Maybe it takes
Billion
10 seconds.
999 mega billion.
Wrong answer.
999 billion, 999 million, 999,999.
Yep. Well done.
What?
But that's
Good
a
job.
no for Lizzie.
See the questions they give me, y'all?
All right, Robbie. This is for the win, Robbie. What in the world is it doing? It's doing
They
this.
What are you
wanted to
doing?
pick his nose.
I'll pick my nose again for the
No,
win.
no, no,
I'll
no,
do
no.
that.
Why did it skip? It
I'll
skipped.
I'll go 2 hands.
I just randomly skipped on its own.
They did give Liz hard ones. I will say that. The
They
ones
always
that
do.
she had to
They
get.
always do.
All right.
I'm
All right,
not
let's see.
rap. I got no butt and I can't not lie. You BBOs can't deny.
Oh, that's right. You could just say it. All right, Robbie, this is for the win. Sing Miss Mary Mac while doing patty cake with yourself.
Oh,
Miss Mary Mac.
Easy one for Rob.
We're doing okay. You have 7 seconds to Miss Mary Mac with patty cake. All right, go.
Sure.
don't you miss?
I don't know Miss Mary Mac, so I'm gonna
That
play
is
patty cake. I don't
wrong
know that song. I
answer.
don't know that song.
Very
All right,
mad.
here we go. All right, so this is now it's a tie between Gianni and Robbie Rock. All right, so this
Wow, wow.
is all right. Gianni, sing a song. This is perfect for you. Sing a song about your farts. You got to make up a song. You have 7 seconds. I'll give you a second to think about it. All right, 7. Sing a song. Sing a song about your farts. You ready? 7
Okay.
seconds. Go.
Rap is the easiest. Rap is the easiest.
I barely fart. I never. I don't fart
Can I
a lot.
can I sing a response song? Liar, you're a liar, liar, liar.
All right, Robbie. This is your last chance
I
here.
don't fart a lot.
Okay. Oh, this is an easy one. Robbie, make up a random word and define it. Starting 7 seconds. Go.
See how easy that is, Gianni? See how easy
Part-
that question is for Rob?
Partnicity. To think that one does not fart in public.
Farnicity. I don't know if you got that in time, Robbie.
Shut up.
You were kind of interrupted. All right.
That's hilarious.
All right, we're gonna figure out the last one. All right. 'Cause- all right. First one to bite your tongue and recite your ABCs starting now. Do it fast. Go. All right, Robbie, you win the game. Good job, Robbie.
Johnny, how did you not win that one?
He's like A B C D E F G.
It was so much harder than it looked.
It was challenging. It absolutely was challenging.
That was awesome, guys. That was a fun game. Enjoyed that one. Let's get some shout outs.
Amazing.
Robbie's got the final thought for the show. All right, Lizzie, give us some shout outs.
Shout out to Serena Williams. So she is retiring. Tomorrow will be the beginning of her last U.S. Open. She will be playing singles tomorrow night in New York City at 7 o'clock p.m. I will have my tissues ready, my cocktail ready. I mean, we're hoping that, she wins it this year, but she very well could lose in the first round tomorrow. She has been a major part of my career as a journalist. So I will be there, ready, wish her all the best.
All right.
Whoa.
Robbie, shout outs.
Shout out to all the creators, experts, and friends that we had on the show during season 3. Shout out to you, my co-hosts, and everybody behind the scenes. And a shout out to my friends and family who love and support.
Yeah, you have a ton of friends and family online right now watching the show. All right, Johnny, shout outs.
Yes.
You gotta sing it, Johnny. You gotta sing it.
I know, with all these challenges. I feel like I want to say shout out to Olivia, shout out to Nesmi, Jose, and shout out to you guys. I had a really fun season. It was really good. I learned a lot, and it helped me grow as a person. And I just want to say thank you, and I had a really good season. I love you guys.
We love having you, Gianni. I'm going to mirror what all your shout outs, and then I'm going to shout out to my wife. This podcast takes up a ton of my personal time from week to week, especially on weekends, and we're constantly having to sacrifice chances to go out, participate in certain events, and plan trips. But she's hung in there with me and a challenging schedule, so I appreciate your support. Thank you, Mel. I love you. Thank you so much. All right, and that is officially all the time we have for today's show and this season. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. We hope that you maybe learned something, gained a new perspective, even got some things off your chest. As I said, this is the last show for our season 3. We will be back live October 23rd for season 4. And throughout that time off, I'll be posting some of our unreleased after show recordings. And I'm planning to also do a short live web series that I'll be broadcasting on social media while we're off. So keep checking in with us in the meantime. Don't forget about us. And it looks like our winner for our final thought of the show is Rob B. Rob. Close us out.
Awesome. Well, for those of you who weren't aware, my father's celebration of life took place this Thursday, August 25th, which happened to coincide with my brother's birthday. And I condensed the video into 1 minute to share with all of you. So, Neo, if you wouldn't mind doing that up.
Absolutely, Rob.
Thanks, man.
Fantastic, Robbie.
Beautiful montage, Rob. Beautiful montage.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I've got to thank you, Robbie Rock, Gianni, Lizzie. But most importantly, we have to thank our audience. Thank you for watching and listening to our shenanigans each and every week. And we will see you next time in October. Looking forward to you. Thank you. See you later.